All right, Evan. Round 4. What did you think of the Ahsoka finale?
I thought it was no. Oh my god.
Do you like it yet?
Are you winning, son?
Oh,
Man.
that's because your name has your at
what?
twice.
Did that always happen? No, I did that recently. I think.
Does your other podcast not have the tags?
No, I was on. So yeah, my display name should not have it, right? Because not everybody uses the what's it called? What's the white thing called? The headline.
Headlines. Yeah.
Not everybody uses the headline. I was on another podcast and they were like, "Where can they find you?" I was like, "Oh, it's not there." I'm so used to being on here and it just always being there. So I just made it quickly on the other podcast. But yeah, we're not talking about Ahsoka. I talked about Ahsoka 3 times last week. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I was telling my brother about it. I was like, I got to create some new material so I'm not reiterating the same things I've been saying for 3 days in a row. Yeah. He's like, you're not a comedian. You don't need new material. So I thought that was funny. But we're back. My cup of tea is back. It's been a while since we've talked, just regular schmegular movies, TV, what we've been watching, and broke down some shows that aren't in a galaxy far, far away, and that we're not doing a commentary. But if people are interested in, hey, they mentioned commentaries. We did one yesterday called Lagoonies.
Lagune.
Lagune. That's a spinoff.
Lagunane or something.
We just lost our Spanish continuum.
El Gune.
Oh no!
I see so many the site I pull all the titles from for our thumbnails. They have the different fonts for the different languages, but it's the same stylized font of the movies because they're pulled from different covers. It's always fun to see. You just see they all say Saw. That was a bad example. Or the L.
Nice. But yeah, so we did the Goonies yesterday, and we did The Exorcist, the first one, on Monday, 1970 something.
1973.
Thank you, Mr. Release Dates.
And I binged the last 3 sequels in the last 24 hours. I watched.
That's a lot of. That's a lot of possessions there.
Yeah.
The exorcisms, possessions. Yeah, I don't know. That's not good for your soul, Nathan. Did you cleanse it with some SpongeBob?
Do it tomorrow.
Okay, cool. Well, this your podcast could be your cleanse,
My confession, if you will.
This is my confession, exactly. Somebody bring in Usher. Anyways, we also did Hyperspace Hype this week. That was fun. Ahsoka, and then I think that was it. But then if people want to watch things I've done, I'll talk about the end of the podcast, whatever. Fuck it.
Is episode 105?
Yeah, 105. Wow. We're in our post 100th episode era. We're living life. What do we do
for the 111th? Oh.
That's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be next level. Should we do 111 on November 11th? I don't know. 10, 11,
time?
11.
There's no way. Is that? I guess in theory it could be possible.
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
Anyways, so yeah. I guess we should start with Loki. This is the first. So first of all, we're back. Loki was our favorite, at least mine. At least I can't speak for you because you're not intelligent with your rankings of the Marvel shows. Sorry.
I love this show. Evan, you have to back me up in chat, please. You're fueling the fire. I love Loki. I never didn't like it.
You said it was 9. I'm reading the quote here. I have it right here. It says, Loki is my second to least favorite Marvel show, right behind Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm reading it right here.
Right behind? Does that mean?
I'm kidding. I didn't. I just
what's my bottom
that.
show in this ideal?
I said, oh, you're right. I said behind Falcon and Winter Soldier. I meant to say in front of.
Check my fucking list. Now I have something.
Oh, you know what it is, Nathan? It's fucking.
You know what's wrong with you?
What? No. You know what it is though? It's Secret Invasion.
That's in the void. I'll get there. I'll have to fucking I'll have to force myself of all right, you got You have to sit down 1 hour before Loki drops and watch an episode of Secret Invasion. That's what I gotta do for myself.
Oh man.
Do the Marvel Power Hour.
Oh, the throwback Power Hour.
Loki is my show.
That's insane.
That's funny.
That's insane.
Hawkeye's just chilling too above. Yeah, we liked it. Kate Bishop all the way.
I liked Hawkeye. You know, I had fun with it, but it's not a great show. But I had fun with I had fun with a lot of these shows. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't consider any of them to be great outside of Loki and Miss Marvel, for me at least.
I'm my list now. Fucking.
I thought what was it called? What was that first shit called?
WandaVision.
WandaVision, yeah. Very good. Falcon and Winter Soldier, extremely mediocre. Extremely mediocre. What else? What else do we have? Secret Invasion was bad, but parts of it were good. It's like, what's going on here? Parts of the acting was really good. Certain dynamics, or Fury's dynamic was good with his wife. That was really the only bright spot.
All right, Loki's above 3 shows now. All right.
Ooh.
Bucks. It's only below 3. It's in the middle. There we go. Miss Marvel's goated. All right. Miss
Marvel is goated. We love Miss Marvel in this podcast. Go back if people are watching this. If they really liked Miss Marvel, yes, go back and watch our episodes because we dive deep into the things we love about Miss Marvel, both the direction, the character relationships, and the overall vibe. But as I was saying, Loki was the first of these Marvel shows, and I was like, oh, wait, this is built different. For me, at least. I had prior to that had fun with WandaVision. Falcon Winter Soldier, we had our whole share of qualms with the Power Broker, and the finale was a mixed bag for me. But when Loki came around, I didn't expect to like Loki. I thought this was gonna be a fun adventure, time hijinks. But it turned episode 1 immediately. I was like, okay, wait, this is going to be an emotional show. Just him going through that whole loop thing, the loop of prison thing in episode 1 or 2 of season 1.
It is. It is interesting when you take a step back and you look at the list of all the shows. It feels like of all the properties that were given a show, Loki would arguably feel the safest because he was definitely the more seasoned character to fall back on.
Yeah, we're okay, yeah, Loki show, whatever, it could be fun.
Even though it does an interesting thing because it initially starts off with a underdeveloped Loki, one that we've only seen up to a certain point, and it's oh, is that going to be tricky to get involved with it? But right from the first episode, they catch him up on the other one that we know is
so surprising, yeah,
and then sends him on a an outward spiral of what is my place in this story.
Which and the fact of the show, exactly, you're right, Nathan. From the beginning, we're oh, and that's immediately why. We were this show is built different because it really subverted expectations, where it's not a villain, going through and being you know what, maybe I shouldn't be the god of mischief. That's kind of what I expected. I'm he's going to go through this whole lesson by the end of the season. He's going to be well, I want to be good. But they did all of that in episode 1. And I'm oh, wait, he's really reevaluating his life in the first episode. What's his arc going to be moving forward? And we ended up having this fantastic, beyond fantastic arc with Sylvie, what I just loved. It's a prime enemies to lovers. It's a great relationship. It's not self-obsessed. Fuck off.
Not a thing.
First of all, yeah, not a thing at all. And it's not self because he's not falling in love with himself, right? So the point of the show is that these different versions of Loki are all different versions. They're all different. They all have their own individual motivations and lives. That make them completely different. Anyways, Loki and Sylvie had a great dynamic. Sylvie instantly became one of my favorite MCU characters of all time, just with her portrayal in season 1. I loved her. I love her performance. I loved her arc. I love where she went. That finale I defended, even though it was a lot of talking. It's not a great finale, but I loved how it ended Sylvie and Loki's arc. The timelines diverging, the past, I didn't really care about that. But I cared about what's next for Loki, what's next for Sylvie. How are they going to deal with the threat of Kang and deal with finding each other again? And that all to say, I had a blast with this first episode. I didn't think it was a great premiere as a season of television. I didn't think it was a great, like, here's what you can look forward to for this season of the show. I didn't really feel like I could understand where Loki's arc is heading at all, what Sylvia's arc is heading at all, or where anybody is seemingly going or moving towards overall. It's outside of the threat of Kang is alive and well here.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to gauge, right? Because this is our first season 2 of a Marvel show.
You're right. That's very interesting. Yeah, I didn't really think about that.
Yeah. So I feel like I can start to gauge at least.
We can talk about it. Maybe I just haven't thought about it too much. You know?
Sure. In the beginning, there was nothing.
Why do you sound like a narrator?
Long ago.
Long ago. What are you, Huyang? That's like a reference. Oh God. Anyways,
we like the show.
We did. It's fine.
This always happens. We enjoyed the show all season, and I'm still like, yeah, I like it. And then you're like, it's
you know why, Nathan?
Because we talk about it.
Because they have bad finales. They just every time we have a fun show,
it's decent.
They have fun. It's a fun show. We get to the finale, and I'm cooking up theories, and then I always say with every one of those Star Wars shows, I'm like, I'm thinking too hard for this show. I'm thinking too hard for it. Anyways,
put that energy in Marvel.
I will. I did the same thing with Marvel. I'm like, Marvel was even. I think I can't even compare between Marvel's output and Star Wars' output for like which is better right now. They're pretty much both a mixed bag. Mm-hmm. But Marvel has Loki, Miss Marvel. Yeah, Loki and Miss Marvel for like great shows. Well, Star Wars has Andor.
Hey.
Yeah, so I think Marvel's a little bit ahead here. But anyways, I liked because I think my only qualms, I'll say it out front, my only qualms with the first episode here for season 2 was that it was a lot of catch up, which was both necessary for the narrative, right? Loki has to catch up this version of Morbius. There was actually multiple versions of Morbius, but here. But anyways, there's a lot of catch up for both Loki, the Mobius, sorry.
Very different.
And very different, yeah. Is our commentary of Morbius even out there?
I gotta get it from the hard drive. Lost with the ether, maybe for the better.
Maybe for the better, yeah. It's like a 3 a.m. stream, yeah.
That's the Halloween special when I dig it up. That's what we'll debut.
Nice. Perfect timing.
I'm forever haunted by that post-credit scene. Don't know why I'm here. It's something to do with Spider-Man, I think.
Not
disgusting. Anyways,
my only qualm was like there was a lot of catch up here, and I didn't really get a sense of like where the season could be heading. But overall, it was fun. I think what the episode nailed is what we love about season 1, which is Mobius and Loki's dynamic, introducing a new character in OB and crafting a fantastic, hilarious sequence of events with the past and present scene between OB, Loki, and Mobius. That was easily the scene stealer of the episode because I was just having so much fun with the way the show is crafting these time travel elements and the sci-fi of it all. It could get very could border on the too sci-fi of it all, which I think the first season really nailed, like keeping it very sane and not overly complex, but hopefully season 2 doesn't go down that path. Mm-hmm. And other parts that I disliked about this episode was that we're introduced, maybe reintroduced. I don't remember this character's name, but the guy who just like hates Loki. One of the guards just does not like Loki, and he's working with one of the other the minister lady, who says like, yeah, we know that He Who Remains was bad, but it doesn't mean what he was doing was bad, right? She says something along those lines. And that means that they should still track down Sylvie. So
I think it was vaguer than that. I think it was just like she was in the mindset like this doesn't change anything. But
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's like this doesn't change anything. We still got to worry about pruning these timelines and paths and Sylvie.
Yeah, but ultimately, yeah, they're fixation is like we need to figure out Sylvie because she caused this.
But there was that one character. I didn't even get his name down. I didn't take any notes for the podcast, everybody.
The
But
guard, right?
the guard that led that charge,
Yeah.
who's still taking orders. That guy, I felt like that. Those two are like overly antagonistic. I didn't really.
They're also
vibe with
overly
them.
close, and I don't know what's up.
They're new characters, right?
Yeah, they're both new. I don't remember
Both
him
new.
at all from the first season.
Okay, both of those new. I'm like, I wasn't really vibing with those two characters at all. Really, I was like, okay, they seem very cookie cutter obstacles for Loki and Mobius. Hopefully, they flesh them out a bit.
What's our girl's name? Is it B-15? Or what's?
She's back. Yeah, Hunter B-15.
Yeah. I know. Like she was the hard ass last season until she got swayed over.
Yeah, she swayed over halfway through the season, I think. Yeah, episode 4 or 5, something like that.
Yeah. So I don't think the dude was. But even also when they're leading the charge to go into the time doors to go hunt Sylvie,
Mm-hmm.
I think he also looked to her and was like, this seems odd.
Oh, really?
I thought so.
Excellent recap for us. I don't remember that. He just seemed very much like, Loki, you're in the way. We got to do this. Like, what are you doing? Like remember when he was trying to like unveil the wall? The guy was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, dude, calm down. Why are you so distrustful of Loki? You helped out everybody.
I don't think it was that aggressive. He did go to like be like, "What the hell's going on?" And Hunter stopped him. And then the Loki started to he started to walk back, and then Loki stole his stick.
And then Loki told him all about what's happening. They're all like, "Okay, we believe you, Loki." And then, like you just said, the minstrel lady was like, "It doesn't change anything." I'm like, what's going on here? So I don't really vibe with that. But overall, I think besides those two characters, I was very much interested here. And there was a post-credit scene. I almost skipped past the post-credit scene. Did you see a post-credit scene?
I did.
Yeah.
Integral.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I'm not overly integral, but like, we'll see where she is in the beginning of episode 2. So, but yeah, I think it was really cool seeing like, hey, this is what happened with Sylvie. Because I was wondering, I'm like, how much Sylvie, even with all the reactions coming about Loki season 2, I didn't hear much about Sylvie. I was like, is she safe? Is she all right? But people reassured me that yeah, she's prominent in this season and she's really good. Anyways, yeah. So those were my overall thoughts. I thought it was very good. What did you think here, Nathan?
Terror, horror, war. Yeah. Tom Hiddleston sells the hell out of his unwavering fear.
Big time.
Of Kang, and it's so compelling. I love it. I love the desperation of not only needing to alert everybody of what the hell is going on, but also just the struggle of being torn from past and present and future.
Yeah, pause right there real quick. We've been seeing that in like the trailers and certain TV spots or whatever. I'm like, oh, that's a really cool effect there. Having watched it now in the first episode, it's so uncomfortable to watch. Holy
it looks
shit.
Very painful, very unnerving. Like the way, like his like arms will like morph together, and like they feel like they're being stretched out, and it just feels like you're playing with clay. It's awful.
It was awful. And I think, have you watched some of the behind the scenes where he's actually filming those sequences? I forget where I was watching. It was running on Twitter or whenever. But he was at a McDonald's and they're filming at a McDonald's and Tom Hiddleston walks up and they're like, action. And he's like he does this thing. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then seeing it here now, I'm like, oh, wow. Like the visual effects and everything.
I have to commend so much to the VFX people as per usual, but it's just like how you even go about crafting that is
no idea.
It's very almost Cronenbergian.
Cronenbergian. Hamburgian, exactly.
Okay.
You're right. I just thought it was very cool overall, and it was a very oddly terrifying effect overall.
It also compels me to realize that he's still going to be time slipping throughout the season.
Yeah, it's not fully fixed, but it's almost fixed. I guess.
Yeah. Or I guess maybe the hypothesis didn't work. Who's to say? I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, we'll see in the second episode, but maybe it's like he doesn't do it in the TVA realm. Because I think they're like, this is the first time it's ever been happening in the TVA. And that's when OB's like, well, here's how you can fix it. So maybe the TVA is like the safe house, the safe realm, the hub world for all the gamers out there. And then when he's in the different realms and paths and timelines, whatever you want to call it, he's still bugging. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah, overall, yeah, continue. Sorry, you were talking about first episode.
Fear. It is strong. It's very compelling. I like the idea that the teacher of He Who Remains at a point ruling over, but at some point their minds were erased of that knowledge.
Yeah. So when season 1 first ended, I think we all collectively thought where Loki was at the end was a different timeline. There's a different timeline in general. But we're introduced here in season 1 or season 2 now. It's the same timeline, but in the past. That was really surprising for me. I'm like, oh, okay. Because again, when Sylvie kills Kang, He Who Remains King, I figure when Loki goes into the different portal, I'm like, oh, he's in a different timeline in general where they all know and worship Kang. But no, like I just said, they're all he was just in the past for those first half of the episode there. And not playing on that was I was cheesing so hard. You know why, Nathan? One of my favorite movies of all time, top 3, Arrival. This is 1 kajillion, bazillion, trillion % Arrival time frame rules in general. In Arrival, for those that haven't watched it, but you definitely should, it's amazing. It's Best Picture. It's fantastic. The character Louise, she's like bothered with the concept of time, and she's struggling with how to understand these new aliens, how they perceive time. For the new aliens, they see time as a circle. So their future is a present is the past. It was very interesting there, where it's like, hey, you tell somebody something in the past, the person in the present then automatically understands it because it's all happening at the same time. It's a circle. So when we get to that OB sequence, which is just incredible, he's talking to OB. He's like, hey, yeah, you should create a time extractor thing. And, you know, it takes place in the present where he's like, oh, wait, I did tell you that. It's like just the way they wrote the whole time travel of it all was super genius, super smart. I love seeing it. It was just amazing. And then again, having all that be because he's from the past, or he was in the past for a few minutes there and going back and forth. I was floored how much I loved it. It was awesome.
Yeah, I love that element of time travel whenever that's used.
It's great. It's not really used that often.
Okay.
It's not. We usually see the Back to the Future rules, or we see the Avengers Endgame rules. Those are the mainly 2 time travel elements we see in fiction.
All right, well, get your whack ass Arrival out of here because I know it from Bill and Ted, baby.
Sorry, the 2 people that saw Bill and Ted. Yeah.
No, the 2 people, they are a phenomenon, sir.
Phenomenon.
Yeah. People are aware.
I don't think that's correct. Noun for that,
man. Yes. You were
who co-stars with Keanu Reeves in that movie? What's his name?
Alex Winter.
If Alex Winter walks down the street, is he gonna be called a phenomenon?
Lost Boys star Alex Winter? Sure.
Lost Boys. Yeah, I haven't seen that movie either.
Gotcha. No, he's in it. I just mean like no, but in terms of the comedic effect wise, like they would be in a scenario where it's like, oh shit, we need like keys to get out of here, and they're like, okay, later when we come back here, leave. We'll travel back, leave the keys right here, and they'll just say that and be like, then sure, we'll do that, and then just, oh shit, we got them, but they got to remember to put it back later.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, am I selling you? Was Carson's glowing reviews not enough?
I'm buying the DVD right now. No, I call bullshit because then you guys tried to sell me on those movies saying, "Well, Evan, the third Bill and Ted is really the Last Jedi of the
Logan.
Fuck off, or the Logan, yeah. Well, fuck off. But okay, those movies just don't look like they're for me. This just doesn't look like the opposite of things I'm interested in.
I gotta watch them with you, so you will actually get carried through them.
Probably. How long are they? 2 hours or 90?
They're all 90 minutes.
Okay, that's even better. That was probably the best sell you had all day.
All right, we're gonna fucking move on now.
But yeah, overall, I had a blast with this first episode. So, do you want to start from the beginning?
No.
No. Where do you want to go?
The end. No, okay. I mean, it's pretty.
The same thing. We just talked about it.
Yeah, we did. We it's not too much to like super.
Yeah, there's not a lot of depth here.
Yeah, we can select certain things. I mean, when Loki actually gets reacquainted with Mobius for real, and they're starting to walk through the halls. I love the scene.
Yeah, sorry, you continue.
Where Loki is explaining the idea of He Who Remains and just the terror of it being unleashed was he's bad, but also maybe good, and everything's out of whack, and there's a lot of danger going on. I'm scared.
And this is what I liked. And I don't mean to talk more about Ahsoka to talk 3 days about Ahsoka, but certain Star Wars shows, certain shows in general, this happened on certain Marvel shows as well. They refuse to have people recollect or just talk with another character about how they're feeling. Like these in-depth conversations, right? I like certain shows you would have Loki season 1 finale, and then him come back and he's like, okay, Mobius, this is what we got to do, action sequence, and then he's on board, or they'll probably just skip the scene in general. But I like the show diving into Loki's mindset here, where we do get it, because we never really understood what Loki was feeling too much in the finale. In the finale, he was just worried about, as he says here, he was worried about, keeping the timeline stable and worried about Sylvie in general. Sylvie was right next to him. She's bursting with anger and hatred. And he's trying to keep her, not making a rash decision. But seeing him get to talk to seeing him get to talk to Mobius here was so fascinating, because we get to dive into his mindset, what he was actually thinking. And you're right, Nathan. He's like, he's good, or he was bad, but wait, he was actually doing stuff that was kind of good for us, because like there's worse versions of him. But I didn't know how to feel about that, because I was worried about Sylvie and I'm doing all this stuff. I'm like, okay, thank you. Like, let me peer into Loki's emotional state here, because in the finale is just there's so much going on. Not to say that there's not a lot going on here, but still, you know what I mean. And yeah, he's talking to Mobius. Mobius is quickly like, okay, what's going on? I understand. Just trying to get into like what's really happening, the reveals of it all. And prior to that, I loved him just yelling in the halls, Mobius, and then it was just cut out because he would be like, Mobius. No, like.
Did you see it? Yeah, it's not that bad. It's horrible. It's like you're dying or born or both at the same time.
I love this dynamic.
I love it. Like, what did you think? There's a poor woman in the corner.
That was great. That was pure Parks and Rec office level like camera work there. It's just like, wait, what? He was here the whole time. No words. It was, man, that comedy is on point. The writing was on point here again. In general, yeah, like I had this huge frantic nature with him trying to reconnect with Mobius, catch him up to speed. Even then, it was good for me, even though I think it was a negative overall, because I think the episode did too much reconnecting. But even then, I was kind of forgetting what happened in that finale. I was like, you're right. He got pruned. He went to the Netherrealm region. Then he went back. So that's why he's pissed off at Renslayer. Oh, by the way, there was that great scene with Renslayer. Not with Renslayer, but like about Renslayer, which was a very good scene where you hear Kang talking about like, I want you to be part of my new journey or whatever, my new war. I want you to help me, in general. And then he says, he rewinds it a little bit and he's talking to Renslayer, which is an interesting dynamic that we always talked about in season 1, but it never came to light. We're like, in the comics, Renslayer and Kang have this whole relationship, and that's pivotal to his character arc in certain interpretations of Kang. And now I think finally season 2 is going to be delving into that, as we predicted, right? Because Renslayer disappeared She had a whole door. She disappeared somewhere. So I'm very curious. Hopefully the writers do her justice because she was solid in season 1, but she wasn't as much of a standout as she could have been. But it was fine because, season 1 was all about Loki and Sylvie and Mobius. But now I'm like, hopefully they managed to craft a good storyline between her and Kang going up forward here. I think this first episode definitely sets that up here. Because as you talked about it, like the whole terror of it all was very interesting. Sorry.
Yeah. Now, Evan, where's that energy for Shin and Balin?
What?
Because the season's about Ahsoka.
Yep. You're exactly right. But Loki season 1 doesn't start with Renslayer. With Renslayer, it starts with Loki, right? Like Renslayer is prominent. In season 1, episode 1, we immediately understand Renslayer to be this character who's going to remain in the TVA. She's going to be doing things. And again, I was slightly disappointed with her arc. But Ahsoka starts off with these 2 new characters invading a New Republic ship and constantly saying, "New beginning, a new power." Into deleted nothing. Don't tease. Don't dangle the carrot. I don't feel like the carrot was dangled with Renslayer.
Yeah.
I think
I'm sorry to make you.
You're right. Okay, it's okay. Sorry. My trauma is behind me for the past week.
Is it?
Not really, but
every day is a new nightmare. I like the show.
Me too. But Renslayer, I felt like, okay, I was slightly disappointed by her arc, but even though we didn't get Renslayer and Kang, we got a great dynamic between Renslayer and Mobius, which made her pruning Mobius even more shocking in the 7th or 6th episode. How many episodes were there in season 1? Just 6
of Loki?
Yeah,
6. That's
astonishing because they did so much good work. I don't know why say it like that, but
clip it.
There's I lost train of thought there, but like Loki nails how to do 6-episode seasons. And I was just talking about it on the other podcast with Orange Grove. I'm like, some of these Disney shows don't need to be 8 or 6 episodes. It works with some, doesn't work for others. And again, for Loki, I think they nailed how to do it. Now, hopefully, season 2 has some more depth in their episodes. I think season 1 or episode 1 here didn't quite live up to like the depth that was needed, but I think they hit the ground running big time, and that's like the best part of this episode, that it was so frantic. So they were all moving. Jesus Christ, people are yelling out there. Can you hear that? I don't know. Anyways. So they hit the ground running. So I think next week we're going to continue that pace. I think the pace is very fast, but I don't think it's too fast. So I'm interested to see where we go here. But yeah, overall, yeah, go.
Going back to the scene where Loki is talking to Mobius about that, they do point up to a couple of some murals, one of which being the initial time war before the order came into place, and it's, lo and behold, a group of comic accurate looking Kangs fighting one another.
Wait, when was this?
This was in the scene where Mobius first really focuses on Loki slipping through time, and it's like, oh, it doesn't look so bad.
This is this before they're talking in the courtroom.
It's post war room.
Post war room. Okay, yeah, I have to watch that. But so it's like on a statue or something, on a portrait.
It's like 3 murals up top.
Okay. Yes. You're right. Okay, now I remember. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, they're diving headfirst into like these variant comic accurate portrayals of Kang. I'm very curious to see where season 2 leads off with that. I think we all figured, controversy aside, that we're going to be heavy into the Kang stuff, no matter what Disney plans to do with him post Loki. Yeah. I'm very prepared and very excited to see what Kang has in store for everyone. Like you said, I still feel that terror. I still feel that sense of dread whenever his name is mentioned. I think that's all sold upon Tom Hiddleston's portrayal here, or just his acting performance was just so compelling. So I love that whole aspect of it.
Absolutely. Obi is the GOAT.
The GOAT. What a great introduction for this character. I just with this the show where he was like, how long has it been, buddy? It's been 3, 4, 5,
Yes.
100?
Yeah.
That was great. That was
3,
amazing.
400. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Forgot these people were that old. But yeah, it was a great introduction to these characters. Mobius having this weird recollection with OB, who remembers him from the past a little bit because he's just been in this room, which has like, it's very comical, but it has like this underlying sense of sadness. Where I'm like, okay, please be friends with OB. OB needs some friends because he's been alone for so long.
He doesn't sleep.
Yeah, that was depressing. But yeah, I think Kiwi Kwan was just phenomenal here in this part. And again, I already talked about it, but just the whole like, hey, my friend, he's time slipping. He's like, oh, he can't be time slipping. We're in the TVA. Like, well, he is. How do we stop it? Well, he can't be doing that. Like, how do we stop it? There's no way to stop it. Like, and then he gets put into the past. Then he tells him how to stop it in the past. He's like, but I've never talked to Mobius. Oh, wait, maybe I did. Or I never created this, but wait, it's right here. Like, it was just, it was so good. I rewatched that scene so many times. It was so much fun to watch.
Really good, really captivating. I love it. I love those time travel hijinks, you know.
Yeah, it was great. So yeah, I just love that scene in general. I hope Kiwi Kwan is here to stay. I was worried because when we were revealed what his character was going to be, like in the promos, everything leading up to Loki season 2, I thought he was just going to be like, you know, the same character from season 1, who we see again here in season 2. That one guy, Casey. I thought he was going to be a Casey X character, like where he's going to be
background. He
works at a desk, pokes some buttons, and then that's it. But I don't think so. I think we're in for the long haul, hopefully, for Kiwi Kwan.
I was worried he would not be in it too much, especially because I think we've already seen his trailer scenes. Like, they were only marking him a tiny bit. So I would be very happy if he not only goes throughout the full season, but I mean, if he comes out, well, I mean, he probably won't be in the field, but it's always good to have an inside man, you know.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say too. I echo that. I don't think he's going to be time jumping with Mobius, the TVA, etc., Loki. But I think whenever we come back here, I think he'll be a prominent character, hopefully, because he came in clutch here. He helped save everybody. And we talked about Tom Hiddleston's performance evoking that sense of dread. I think I loved Key's performance here, where he's talking about, or he's overlooking Mobius, and they're like, hey, we have to close the door. It's like, I'm sorry. Like, just that scene in general was very very emotional, also on his performance. So hopefully he's here for the long haul.
It's also an interesting thing to consider plot-wise, that OB is able to remember this past conversation in the present. But we know in the past that Loki slips to that everybody had their minds erased. But it's possible because OB's so like out of the way, like so isolated, maybe he wasn't taken for a mind wipe.
So you're thinking it wouldn't have worked because between Loki being there in the past and being there in the present, he would have had his mind erased, so it shouldn't have worked. Is what you're saying?
No, I think it does work. I just think because it worked, that means he is a person that didn't get wiped. I don't know if that means OB has any like
I didn't really think about
in regards to He Who Remains or anybody, because I mean, granted, they didn't ask him. They were just like, hey, I'm time slipping, I need help.
Yeah, true. I didn't really think about that too much. I think he still probably was included in the mind erasing stuff, but I think the time slipping circumvented that part of it all. Maybe. Yeah, that's a good point, though. That's a good point. By the way, that reminds me, we can dive into his name in general. He's called OB, but his full name is Ouroboros, which is very fascinating. You know, I talked about this character a lot. It's a mythological character. Mostly a dragon serpent person creature, in mythology. I talked about this a lot when I was talking with my brother about Willow and other people online about Willow. There's a villain called the Worm who eats his own tail, kind of thing. It's a circular. It talks about like the evil, about like how it's never ending. In this case, I don't think Kwan's going to be evil, but Ouroboros is a character that like constantly. There is no concept of time with Ouroboros. It's like constantly chasing its tail. It lives in the past, present, and future, which makes that whole sequence come literally full circle. Because he's able to do these past, present, and future stuff because Ouroboros doesn't see in past and present and future. That's why it's like, again, the dragon chasing its own tail like a full circle, which in this instance, that sequence, time was a circle.
Yeah.
So I think that was very cool, both insert of like how mythology kind of connects with the whole sci-fi of it all. That's why I love Loki. The writers really, they dig deep into like the mythology and the sci-fi and the rules and stuff like that. The Rick and Morty of it all really showing through. Yeah, I love that. And then we can talk about that whole Mobius sequence. I thought was phenomenal as well. I think the first episode here really, the best part about this is just getting us back into why we loved Mobius and Loki, why we love their relationship. And they're not doing anything that we've seen before from season one. They're kind of extending their relationship where because of what they've been through in season one, Mobius is going to try even harder to try and save Loki. And then it makes the pathos of that scene so emotional. So it hit so hard because of what they went through in season one. So like, I can't wait to see them grow even further in season two.
Yeah, you especially feel the emotion where like obviously like Loki's going through the ringer, but like when he spawns into the war room and he sees Mobius and he's so relieved, like, you know me, and he's just happy to see him. It's so goddamn it. There's they obviously shared emotional connection last season as well. They like hugged goodbye potentially in the penultimate episode, but yeah, they're so great. And also we have re-teed the joke of the jet ski, so one step closer.
Hell yeah. But you're right. Like, we're in a different stage of their relationship. Season one is about them getting closer. But now that they're both on the same page, right? They both know the reality of the situation. And we got a little bit of that towards the tail end of season one. But now we're fully committed with knowing the truth and the lies of what's going on here. So now they can go forward instead of like where he was kind of above Loki in the sense of like what was going on here. And even then, season one, Loki was above him because he knew more than he did. Mobius did. But now they're on the same page. And it's going to be cool seeing where their relationship can grow going on from here. But yeah, Mobius, they talked about the terror, the horror of your skin peeling off when he's trying to like save Loki. I'm like, oh my God, like what's going to happen here?
I think the hardest I laughed was when they pan over to Mobius and he's just chilling and he's just writing in dust, skin.
That was great. I love that.
It's amazing.
That was a great beat. And yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, if you continue to stay out there past like 30 seconds or so, yeah, your skin will peel off and you'll like disintegrate. And it's like, okay, this is not great. And then Loki overall, if he doesn't get into like, because he has to go prune himself and then hope he gets extracted. It was just a series of events that was so minuscule and the odds are very low. But again, we know their relationship. We know they have faith in each other. So they were ready for it. And it was also, oh man, the emotion in this episode when Mobius is out there and he's waiting for Loki. We cut to Loki and he's in the different, he had time slipped into the different past or whatever it was. He was in the future this time.
Yeah.
He was in the future, which was also very interesting. And he's looking around. And I think he's like looking for was it Sylvie, right? Like he hears Sylvie.
Well, I think initially he's just looking for a prune stick because the time is of the essence.
Okay. Yeah. But he was looking, he slows down because of something, right? Like the time is slipping past him and he slows down and stops.
I think just because initially like the timer's about to run out and he's about to miss his shot.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, he was looking for the prune stick. The time's running out. He's like looking at the clock and like beeps red and then green, like he's missing his shot. Like this is the time to go because he only has a few seconds. So that whole scene was just it was crazy. And then he finally sees a little bit of Sylvie in the elevator. And then they play the music, and I'm just like this is peak Loki right here. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then he proves himself, and then he comes in, and then he pushes Mobius through the doorway, and it was fantastic. That whole sequence of events was amazing.
That's the interesting thing, because the way it's framed, I think if you're like just like watching real quick, you think, oh fuck, Sylvie is here and pruned him. But then you actually see the pruning comes from behind him.
Yeah, it came from behind him.
And from what can be seen, it looks like out of focus is actually Loki of the future, and wearing what he's going to be wearing later down the season.
Are we getting a Tenet situation?
I think we're doing a time loop situation here. So you have to save yourself by going to the moment where you were saved, because it's also clearly Sylvie with like her bangs that she's wearing later in the season. Didn't know that.
Did you lie to me? Did you not watch a breakdown of this episode, Nathan?
I saw a tweet.
Oh, son of a bitch!
I didn't see the fucking blur ass shit. But they did.
I was like, Nathan's cooking shit.
I mean, yes, I
did. Wow, shit, that's awesome.
Which I did notice. I saw that when I went back to, because then when I went to go see it, and I am watching him getting pruned, he does like disappear enough to where you do see the prune stick from behind him, so it just like supports the theory even more. Like, oh shit, there we go.
I just thought he like reached back and pruned himself. I don't know what I was thinking. I was too involved.
Again, like I thought it was like Sylvie pruned him, but also she's like trying to hold the doors open.
I didn't think it was her because she's trying to open the doors. And then she calls for him, right? Doesn't she call for Loki? Did she say anything?
She said, "There you are."
There you are.
They're actually looking for Loki because in that moment he needs to get pruned.
He needs to get pruned. Man,
maybe that's why he's still time slipping, because he first has to fulfill that moment, loop. And that will close the time slip.
Possibly. Man, I love where we're going with the time stuff here. It was mentioned in season 1 a lot, but we didn't do a lot of time travel hijinks. It was just going to different time periods. So I like this. I like where season 2 is heading thematically about like the how one perceives time, and how I wonder how that's gonna flow in terms of Loki's arc and Sylvie's arc, how they're going to go back in time and all this. I'm just hoping the sci-fi of it all, regardless of how awesome and cool it is, as Nathan's talking about here, I hope it ties into the emotional arcs of the show. Because it can be as cool and sci-fi and crazy as it wants to be. I need a reason to care. But you're right. I think that scene in general, you're right. I didn't even think too hard about it. I just thought like, oh, he got pruned. I thought it was himself or whatever. Because right afterwards, I'm back into it with Loki and Mobius. I'm like, yeah, let's go. They got through the doors.
That's back. The goat.
And then OB is there. I'm like, yes, they did it. And then is that how the episode ends with them? Like they recover.
Loki gets shot into Mobius to make him through the door, and then
I forget what happens afterwards.
I mean, clearly, like they got more to do.
Yeah, I think they realized like, okay, we need to find Sylvie, right? I think their goal is also to find Sylvie.
Was that the same time where the troops were going through the door to go find Sylvie at the end there?
I think that was earlier on. Maybe not. Towards the end. I don't know. Maybe no, you're right. I think they reunite, and then one of the guards, the one that the asshole guard, is like, they're all going to find Sylvie. So I think it's a race against time to find Sylvie. Hence all the trailer shots of him going to McDonald's.
Yeah. Which will then be a hunt to find Loki. Prune him.
Yes, yeah. Which I wonder how we're going to go about that, because right now I don't think Loki's worried about him going back to prune himself. At least not right now.
Not yet, I imagine, because he's not slipping by the time he's back. So they presume like, hey, it worked.
Yeah. So I wonder how that's going to connect again. But yeah, that's a great theory. Not even theory. I think that's what has to happen. Full on Tenet / Arrival time travel. Man, great, fun stuff.
The sequence of Mobius going out to tether, it reminded me a lot of the Fantastic Four, like when they're on their space mission going to, and they get their powers through get back to the ship before the thing blasts.
Great stuff, fun stuff. Man, we gotta watch those movies. We've been talking about watching the Fox movies for years now.
Yeah. Gotta do it before Secret Wars or Deadpool 3.
Or Deadpool 3. 2024's Deadpool 3. Is that still happening? Yeah.
Anyways, I guess watch Blade, right?
Oh God, that poor movie. Man, what year did Mahershala Ali put on the Blade hat? Was that 2018?
19.
2019.
Was it 19?
20. 2019.
19. Yeah, I think 19.
I think that was the same Comic-Con where Brie Larson came out. No, was it?
No, Brie was been Captain Marvel by that
Brie had been Captain Marvel by that point?
That would be... It was 2019, so it's post-Endgame, but it's like the summer, so they're like, hey, we got big stuff coming. Or it was the Phase 4 announcement, so like Disney Plus shows are coming and all that, except for 2020.
And then that never happened, and then 2021, and then Blade still getting rewrites as we speak. Oh boy, that poor cursed movie. But yeah, then lastly, we see Sylvie right after killing Kang, He Who Remains. Yeah. He's in Oklahoma in 1982, I want to say.
I think so.
82, 83. She goes to McDonald's and she kills everybody there. It was pretty gnarly. Yeah, she walks in and she orders a Big Mac.
She orders everything.
I'm like, wait, Sylvie.
You got money?
You got money, right? Is that why she's working there? So she can pay back her ordering everything?
She working there for the free food.
For the free food? Yeah, she's going to fall in love with that Big Mac. I'm like, watch out, Sylvie. It goes to your thighs and then you blow up. So,
and then you blow up. Yeah, I remember my first Krabby Patty. We gotta watch SpongeBob, Evan.
Honestly, season 1 to season 4 of SpongeBob is one of the best cartoons of all time. Easily, no competition.
We got to carve out where we just like sit to the side and like, all right, 3 episodes, let's go.
Yeah, we got to, because SpongeBob is like genius writing, like no irony, just genius writing in those first couple of seasons. Yeah. But yeah, Oklahoma, Sylvie, she doesn't know that there's tons of people coming after her. If they can even find her, she's in the middle of nowhere. Literally, even it's Oklahoma. So I'm curious to see how the threat finds her, how Loki finds her. She's not in front of a whole big, what is it called, cataclysm, whatever they called it, in season 1. So it's gonna be even harder to find her, I'd imagine. Yeah, overall, I had fun with it. I think the effects also looked very good. Like you mentioned, Mobius going out there to tether Loki. I think that whole
the time decay of the suit is glorious.
Yeah, I agree. I think the visuals looked great. The time travel, again, the rules, the way they're writing how time travel works and the different functions of time already in this first episode is very intriguing. Obi was a scene stealer.
Yeah. I'm very compelled by Sylvie's characterization in the final scene as well.
Ooh.
Because when she turns around from the cashier and she's taking a look around and seeing these different groups of people conversing and just having a good time, you stop to realize this is the first moment in Sylvie's life where she's no longer running, and she has, to her interpretation, killed the threat that has been chasing her the entirety of her life. So she literally gets a moment to breathe, and she sees just life that she can live, and so she wants to try everything. Nathan,
I'm such a fake Sylvie fan. I don't know how I didn't just do the thing you just said, which is
That's
exactly
why
right.
I'm the writer of Time Blazer.
Yeah, that's why you're the writer of Time Blazer. That's why
you're the consultant.
That's why they pay you the big bucks. Because I instantly thought that exact same thing while I'm watching the episode, but I didn't take any notes. So I'm just forgot.
So you're just like,
that.
she's at McDonald's.
She's at McDonald's, and I made jokes about it. Yeah, but you're right. It just emotionally of it all, 1,000% correct. She had defeated her, who she believed was her ultimate enemy. Which, to be fair, I think in her current state, it probably was. Wasn't a great guy, but getting here now, she finally gets to breathe, and she finally gets to live. And she just wants to, like you said, order everything, embrace this peaceful, monotonous life. She's not on the run anymore. There's no sense of danger. But in a classic, great character journey of it all, her character arc isn't complete. She's not with Loki yet, which I think is a big factor in her achieving true happiness for her character.
Her glorious purpose.
Her glorious purpose. So I think she needs to reunite with Loki, but also I think she needs to find her groove again, because I think even though she killed He Who Remained, it's kind of like the Zuko thing, right? Where you think you have it all, you're thinking in a great position, but now that you're getting this chance to live, what are you going to do with this life? You can't just sit there and flip hamburgers for the rest of your life. I'm sorry, Sylvie, that's not your glorious purpose. So we need you to move. I think that's what Loki's going to be doing. Like, hey, we need your help. There's a bigger threat here. So I think I'm excited to see where her character arc for sure is going. But yeah, beautifully said, Nathan. I think the journey is only just beginning for Sylvie, while she thinks the journey just ended. So I'm very curious to see what's next for her. She's the GOAT. I love her. She's great.
Absolutely.
That's it though for Loki episode 1. We're gonna be doing this for the next 5 more weeks till November 9th. It's like election week, right? Or voting week.
Yeah, I guess.
So
yeah, the 9th.
So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. And post Loki, there's no Star Wars show and there's no more Marvel shows the rest of the year. They were supposed to be a Thanksgiving drop of Echo, but Disney Plus and the executives are like, Echo, never heard of that show before. So now it's going to be released in the Trash Bowl month of January, presumably.
Surely TV does better than movies for January.
I would agree. The Last of Us premiered in January this year.
It's been that long.
It's been that long.
Since I cried every other episode.
Yeah. Man, what a great television, man.
Oh, yeah. I keep getting recommended videos of people knocking the adaptation of it. I'm like, fuck off. I asked for this algorithm.
That's great.
Yeah.
People come out of the woodworks after the show airs. Like, can we now admit that show was not good? No, you can't, because you're wrong. Sorry.
Good? Question mark? Don't act surprised.
Fuck off. Exactly. Right. Oh God. Anyways, Nathan, what the hell have we been watching over the past couple of weeks?
Do you believe? You didn't see it, did you?
Do I believe what?
I saw Exorcist Believer today.
Oh, quite the transition. Beautiful.
Because you're like, what have we been watching? I'm like, we've been watching The Exorcist, but I think you mean Saw.
Yeah. So we watched Exorcist on Monday. I had a blast with it. You tell me, should I run and go see Exorcist Believer? Should I believe in The Exorcist?
You want to know if you should run, walk, or sit down? This is
oh no! Wow.
What
is
walk?
Speed walk. Okay, that's good, right? Speed walk.
Per my letterbox, because I guess everybody only cares about star ratings.
We're falling into the algorithm.
I know. I can hate it. Anyway,
content.
Being the puppet machine. 3 stars.
Okay. Oh, Nathan's 3 stars. That's like a. If they didn't give something 3 stars, it's 1 star.
No, for me, no. Oh, 1 star for you.
For most people, yeah.
Well, for Chad, apparently, fucking Josh hates this movie. I guess.
Oh man, not a lot of people like it.
Yeah, I guess, and I was made aware of this unwillingly. So going in, I'm like, surely not. 2 banger trailers. I've honestly loved all of the marketing for it. So I go into watching, and I think I was even like, I hate that my brain does this because now that I fucking like rage, it's like I watch the movie and then randomly in my brain it pops into like, "Is the rating falling now?" It's like, fuck off. But I would say it probably like defaults. If you're watching a movie, like defaults in the middle of like a 3-star rating, and depending on positive and negatives, it could bounce up or down.
Okay, interesting.
So you see, I've stayed at 3 because this is. First off, let me also give some quick thoughts on. I watched Exorcist 2 and 3 last night.
Yes, yeah.
I haven't seen the prequels yet. We'll check them out. Apparently, 2 prequels were released, I think, simultaneously in the year they came out. So they were like competing prequels of the same canon story. Weird. I don't know.
Weird. Yeah.
I'll have to look into it. But I watched Exorcist 2, and like every fucking negative thing that I hear, I go in and I'm like, can't be that bad.
Can't be that bad. Yeah.
I was bobbing. I was bobbing and weaving. I was falling asleep.
Oh no!
And not just.
Well, you didn't watch this at 2 a.m.
I did. It doesn't matter. I watched it around midnight. I watched Exorcist 3 at 2 a.m.
So past your bedtime. Yeah.
Well past. Very well past. I watched 2. 2 is dealing with the psychosis effects of Reagan. She's going to therapy at the request of her mother, just to make sure everything's all right with her. And I guess the running idea is that the evil is still like infected in the subconscious of Reagan's mind, and we have to go deep into her mind to permanently rid any remnant of the demon in there.
Okay, so is every character still in this? The mom's back?
No, mom's not back. Reagan's back. Father Mirren in a flashback is back, and then also like a recreation of the exorcism. Max von Sydow, that is back. Everyone else is new. I think there's a semi-caretaker guardian watcher of Reagan that I think was the friend of the mother in the first Exorcist. She was like hanging around in a couple scenes around the house.
Okay.
But
wait, so how is everything happening with Reagan without the mother?
Well, I guess the mother is like off doing some sort of film project, right?
Okay.
So she's having her friend watch over her, and then also seeing these people. They're in New York City now. They're no longer in Washington.
Good to get the fuck out of there, yeah.
Don't worry, they'll go back.
Oh.
Yeah, so it goes through that. We obviously start unlocking deeper shit by messing around with this hypnosis machine, which is interesting. The way it's like, the way it's shot, the way it's presented, the way they're unlocking the psychosis. They're like doing this thing where like both of the like Reagan and the person observing her will be wearing the thing. So like Reagan will get into the trance to like go back to the moment of the time where she was possessed, and the therapist will also get to that level. And then a priest, and basically a new priest is involved to further get closure on the case of Father Marin's death from the incident. Max von Sydow's character, to ensure that he, the whole thing was like properly sanctioned and was worth anything, whether his reputation's on the line in the afterlife. It's fucked.
Post reputation. Wow.
Yeah, in the name of Father Marin. So then
so it seems like there's a lot of like just a lot of backstory and a lot of like recovering from the first movie.
Yes, there's also there's a deeper backstory in terms of the demon Pazuzu,
who was left so subtextual in the first one.
Yes, this explores a little more. There's a flashback to Father Mirren. They had talked about he had a case of exorcising a boy in Africa when he was visiting, and is presumed to be the same demon that he faces in the original Exorcist, Pazuzu, and it is. And it's in this boy who, and it explores the idea that this, because in this interpretation, Pazuzu is a wind demon who, uh, he's like a harbinger of sickness, right? And he's
Mm-hmm.
targeting people who are healers, in the world, like people who like aid and heal people. So like there's a cold open with like a woman who, the exorcism fails with the new priest, and like she like gets burned alive and is
Jeez.
taken. Yeah, and then we get to the main boy, which Father Merrin successfully exorcised, and he grows up to be James Earl Jones. uh, and he's currently still alive in Africa, and so the new priest goes to like talk to him about what's going on, and there's this whole subplot of like the idea of like locust being a symbol of evil that the demon travels through, and this doctor studies locusts, and there's kind of like an idea of like a locust is like a pure evil of this thing, but like depending on how situations handle with them, they could just be like happy grasshopper and live peacefully. And so he takes that, and I don't know how the fuck he interprets shit, but he's like, all right, let's face this demon. And Reagan, I don't know how it gets there, because also Reagan's like slowly being like entranced, and she's not supposed to remember the events of the original Exorcist, but like through the hypnosis, she does, and
Yeah,
she's
but by the
lying.
end of the first movie, she kind of forgot all of it, right?
Yes, but
Presumably.
they're purposely unlocking this, I guess, to like fully close the case, because also the priest is made aware when he connects with Reagan as well. He sees the demon is still latching on. There's a really cool sequence where by the end of the sequence, the therapist is taken out of the trance and is made to forget before she wakes up, because it's such a horrific thing that she went through. Is she's in the experience of Reagan being possessed, and effectively Reagan's out of the trance, and the priest is watching what the therapist is going through. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
so now Reagan is out of it, and she's like standing by her therapist and like has her hand over her heart. But then what the therapist is experiencing in her memory is demon Reagan also having a hand over her heart, and there's like a
Tug of war
physical,
there.
there's a literal like tug of war of like she's gonna get fucking killed if we don't bring her out of this fucking trance. And it's a cool little sequence because there's like a backdrop of like black glass behind them, and in that is the physical projection of Father Mirren and Reagan on the bed, uh, doing that overlays.
So,
It's a cool sequence.
so them recreating that sequence is just them using footage of the first movie. They're not like
It's new
opening
footage.
new footage. So
They've recreated. They've recreated, and you can tell because it's clearly like an older woman in Reagan's. I can't even tell if it's actually like Reagan herself, actress Linda Blair, sitting in those scenes, because when I look at the face of the makeup that they're doing, it's like it's not the same. It's not good. It's not consistent. It's weird.
Mhm.
Also, a thing that is amazing about the first Exorcist is the voice of the demon when Reagan is possessed. This one, there's just like a woman attempting to talk demonically low, and it's not working because it's not overlaid, and it's not a woman who fucking had to chain smoke and drink and swallow raw eggs to achieve that voice. This one is
Gross.
just like basic as hell, and it's like this feels a little cash grabby. You're just trying to come along here. There's some interesting ideas, but all in all, they go to the original house to fight off the demon. The house fucking blows up from like wind, I think, because Pazuzu's a wind demon, so it's like earthquake-ish power type deal.
Jeez.
Um,
So it sounds like slightly boring until the end, or it gets kind of interesting.
yes. There's. It feels like there's. I think I said in my review. It's like there's too much like focus on the parallel, but like the parallel being the new stuff, and there's not much like demonic danger you're feeling. I mean, it's always like they're saying it, but like the actual like lead up to it takes so long and you hardly see anything. It's not scary. It's rated R, and I don't know why. I couldn't think of like a moment that was explicitly like terrifying. I don't know if they were just like, oh, it's just by default, it's the extras and the makeup, but it's like the makeup is so the makeup's back. There's no gore. I can't even think of an example of foul language. It could have been PG-13, could have fooled me, even though that rating didn't exist yet. But
wow. So what did you end up giving the second one here?
1.5.
1.5. Wow.
I gave it that for the cool hypnosis scene, the first one, and the music. Solid.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
But then you loved the third one.
Oh, fucking the masterpiece. Fuck. Damn near, man. Exorcist 3 is great. It's essentially, and I won't spoil that one because I want you to go watch Exorcist 3. Initially, you remember...
just give me the play here. Don't say anything with the plot, but just the overall.
Okay, so initially, there were two characters alive at the end of the original Exorcist. There was that detective guy that was sniffing around.
At the end of the movie. Or no. Yeah, the old detective guy. Yes.
And then there was the father, the other father that Reagan ends up hugging by the end.
Yep.
And then those two get to start talking, and
because that father was very close to our boy Damien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and they start to like go off and talk and discuss, and so potentially a new friendship is born, and that was a big theme in the director's cut and the book, especially, is that like evil doesn't win because two souls were lost, because there's still this hopefulness of like following these two and their friendships. It's like evil is triumphant over, and Reagan lives, and everything's good. So we follow those two guys much later in life. They're both old. I think it's new actors for both of them, but they're older, they're experienced.
So this is a time skip. Interesting.
Time skip because it's 15 years later.
Got it. Okay.
And so the detective is solving a new case, a string of murders, but under the guise and MO of the Gemini killer in this universe, which is kind of like their Zodiac, because he would always like leave calling cards and stuff.
Is Jake Gyllenhaal in this one?
Not quite, not yet. But that was the interesting thing, is like there's these new cases that are like, this is akin to the Gemini killer, but the Gemini killer was sentenced to death 15 years ago, and things are a little different, so it can't be him. So basically the plot as it's being uncovered is that the not spoiled, but like the Gemini killer is still operating as a demonic force within the body of somebody.
That's a cool premise. I like it. We can just leave it there. That's a cool.
Yes.
That's a cool premise. I like that. So what I like about it though, it seems very disparate from the first movie in a cool way. It's kind of like a Eye of Evil. What is it called? The Evil Dead 3 kind of thing. Army of Darkness in a way.
It's funny, and I thought of you in a funny way, because in terms of your critique for like Saw movies, which was like a detective story in this fucked up scenario. Why are we doing this? It's a very compelling detective story. It's a very effective atmosphere. A lot of great rain in it. I think I wrote this movie.
Ooh, I love me some rain.
I love the rain. I love the atmosphere. I love the thunder strikes, which is funny because there was back to back, watching 2 and 3. There was a scene on a plane in the second one where it was the caption said thunderstrike, like just thunder. And I heard it and I was like, bullshit, that wasn't fucking thunder. What the fuck was that noise? And then the third one did some thunder and it was a real thunder. And I was like, there you fucking go.
There we go. Authenticity. Yeah.
Anyway, which was funny because was it 1977 is when Exorcist 2 came out. 1990 is when Exorcist 3 came out.
Jeez, what a time skip.
Yeah, but effective because it's the director is the author of the original book. And also the author of the sequel book that it's based on called Legion. And it follows a lot of the core stuff, but also, even though it is a sequel book, there was actually studio interference with Exorcist 3, where the studio wanted them to add a bit more elements and some flashy final exorcism moment in the film to have like deeper tie connection marketing stuff for the original.
Okay.
But he handles it with such grace of like the studio's desire to have this, that it's not like something that's like tacked on that he's dragging along. It's like a challenge that he was able to take, and it was like, okay, and I will successfully mold this into my story. And he does, and it's great. It's so great. The exorcism itself is very compelling, visually stunning, and great emotional payoffs for the character arcs in the story. Wonderful.
Wow. So we have a good detective story, good exorcism, good emotional impact, good cast of characters. Wow. It seems like I have to watch this movie before I watch Believer. If I watch Believer.
I would. I still have the original Exorcist at the top for me, but Exorcist 3 is like right under it.
Wow.
Right there for me, for different reasons in terms of the storytelling.
So
but
it sounds like a Saw 6 scenario for me, where I love Saw 6, and I feel like this is very close to the original. And then, okay, all the build up there, Nathan, you ended up giving Saw Exorcist Believer now 3 stars. What didn't you like about Believer?
What didn't I?
Yeah. Or, pros and cons.
Okay. Pro. Leslie Odom Jr. Fantastic. Oh. He's easily the best part of the movie.
Awesome.
For sure. His storyline is the most compelling because of all of the characters come from a faith-based background, except for him.
Oh.
Which is very compelling, especially in the scenario that you're in. And I think that's like another thing that made compelling in the original Exorcist is like the mother, she wasn't a devout like believer of like to the deepest degree or anything, but after things were going down, it's like just fucking anything, help me. Like,
yeah, there was nowhere else to turn to. Yeah,
it's the deterioration of and desperation of the story that for the character that is always the most compelling with them in these scenarios, especially when it's in regards to their children. The idea of the demon possessing 2 girls at once, and it comes down to, which ultimately becomes a parallel in the story of a previous thing that happened in Leslie Odom Jr.'s character's life, is that one can live and one can die, and it's going to be up to you to choose. And that's being presented by the demon, and it's being presented to both parents in the scenario.
Oh, wow.
And that's ultimately like the overarching test of the demon, and it is compelling how it goes, and I won't spoil how it goes, but it's quite captivating in that regard. The possession itself feels very on brand with The Exorcist. You can see the visual style of the deterioration being very effective. It's very gruesome, very gnarly, very gross. I've heard some people say like the initial like first couple acts before the exorcism were dull and boring. Didn't feel that at all. I felt it was a consistent pace of like the build up dread of like the encroaching evil taking over and deteriorating these families. I think the music is wonderful. They have a new orchestral version of the Exorcist piano theme, which I have also come in my research to find out that that's not originally the Exorcist theme. It's a band's track called Tubular Bells, and it's sick. It's wonderful.
Wow.
But they actually do play the traditional one when the credits hit, and that hits. That's cool. But the couple times that it plays in the movie in this orchestral theme, it's a really nice new rendition. It sounds really cool. And the second time it hit me in an emotionally resonant moment in the story. That was like, oh, it's great. This is great. I like this. So yeah, that's my good. I guess
I'm gonna say, like, yeah. So that seems pretty damn positive.
Like,
so,
you like this movie?
Yeah, what happened? So though I hear a lot about the pacing, like you just mentioned. I hear a lot about the pacing is not great in this movie. That's very dull. But what did you think? I mean, what were your negatives overall besides the pacing?
I was also saying, like, as an in between, I guess, is like I've heard some people suggest that it's pushing a bit of negative messages or like extreme messages that aren't to the ideal of some people. I don't think the movie's doing that at all, and I think whenever it is presented to be presented by the villain as demons, and it's not something you're supposed to take to heart. Uh,
Yeah.
So it feels like a situation where back when Chapter 2 came out and Pennywise ate the gay character, and people were like, I don't know if I can get behind this movie. It's like, he's the villain.
Killing the gay is in the narrative. It's like, yeah, he's evil for a reason.
I don't know if I can get behind this alien clown that eats children.
Yeah, how dare you? But yeah, so what dropped off here?
I think it is probably in regard because I am viewing this in the greater franchise. I think it's far better than Exorcist 2 by a long shot. I think it's far better. I think everything about it has a lot more intrigue to it. Granted, I think Linda Blair's Reagan is wonderful, even in the second movie. But here, it can't quite reach the intensity of the horror and the scares of 1 or even 3 because of, I think it's just the modern age of horror that we're in. They kind of fall into the traditional sense, right? Like there'll be visualizations of demons in like quick flashes and stuff, right? Which is something we've seen in the series.
Yep.
We've seen in the original Exorcist like quick shots of the white Pazuzu face in a couple of frames that flash real quick, and it's just like it's intense and it's creepy.
Do they overexpose?
I don't think I noticed any type of overexposure. There might have been a couple because I think it's blended in because the Leslie Odom Jr.'s character is a photographer, so it's like it kind of plays in like those quick flash elements.
Yeah.
Either that or I'm remembering the trailer that I watched a billion times because those are also great because they were matching marketing for the 70s. But I love this, and even like there was a quick like actual movement shot of the Pazuzu face in the original where like Reagan's like turning over when like the light's flashing and then like it's the demon face for a quick second. It's for like under 24 frames, and it's like, oh fuck. It's that eeriness that's really impactful, and even in like the Exorcist 3, there's a great like jump scare scene after like a great lingering moment, which I won't spoil. They do that lingering type stuff a bit here in the movie, but it's more for like a false sense of security, as in like they're setting it up for like a greater payoff that doesn't actually like hit. I mean, there's some like underlying creepy elements that are like, oh shit, something's happening, but it's not like a great like, boom, gotcha.
Okay.
Now there are also like some elements that are like quick, like boom, like bam, like oh fuck, like, and there's a couple, and you jump at it because it forces you to jump because it's like, I'm in IMAX and it's quiet, fuck, like. But more so in regards to the point I was making with the demon, and like the quick flashes and visual styles of those. The look of modern demons is so consistent.
Sanitized.
It's consistent nowadays to the same default look. Like, it's like deformed, melty skin and like a missing nose and like shit like that. And it's not like the creative, like, blank, creepy stare of like the original Pazuzu look 50 years ago, which is still fucking haunting and terrifying. It's just, it's the fact that like every movie, like you see, like whether it's like The Nun or something, just like that creepy, like normal looking face, it just doesn't hit the same. And especially in regards here, because there'll be like a scene where like you see it like going in motion, and it's like either you linger too long or it's just like it's not the correct look.
So the horror isn't really like palpable because of the way that it's presented.
Yeah, it's the fact that I've seen better ways that one can handle the horror going forward, and they just fall more into the modern conventions.
I wonder if this is a thing because I feel like the same thing happened with David Gordon Green's last trilogy, the Halloween trilogy, the modern Halloween trilogy, where I think the brutality of the kills was effective, but I don't think the horror of it all wasn't nearly as felt as like the first Halloween movie, the first other movies in the franchise. So that's interesting. I think David Gordon, it might be a directorial thing on David's part.
Maybe, I don't know. I think it's to each their own because, as you know, I quite enjoyed the first Halloween, and not even in comparison to Kills and Ends. I genuinely like it as this.
Twist sucks.
Which twist? What the fucking
The doctor twist? Awful.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I don't like it. But everything else I enjoyed about that movie. I think it's a worthy legacy sequel, especially for Laurie Strode's character. I think it was handled very well. I think it looks great. I think it's very in line with the stylization of Michael Myers.
In hindsight, I do like it better than 2 and 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Here, it has a lot of interesting elements with the actual like possessed girls and the demon talking through them, and some scenarios that are really cool. They cut something from the trailer that I was bummed that they cut because it's very compelling in the trailer. It's
the 8-man D all over again.
No. In the second trailer, there is a quick snippet where one of the girls she like snaps back to it during the exorcism for a second to talk to her mother, and she cries and pleads that she doesn't want to go to hell. And it's the way she's crying out as a child does. It's fucking terrifying at the thought of a child being put through this torment. And it's not in the movie. And I was like, that's something you should not have cut. That is something that was very palpable that we could like even more emotionally connect with. Because as in regards to the film, I think it needed it for the character of Caitlin, who is the white girl's family. I feel like she's a bit more underdeveloped compared to Leslie's daughter in this, because they're the core heart, I feel, of the story, which is great for them, and it's a great story that you follow there. But it's like when you have the two introduced, I want to be able to like feel the emotional tether to both of them, especially when the demon's like, you can only save one of them, and it's like, oh fuck, like who's gonna be? I don't want either of them to go, and I still don't because I'm fucking human, but
you're only emotionally like connected to one more so than the other.
Yes,
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, and it's already like more compelling when like everybody else are devout people and he's not. So immediately I'm like, that's the intriguing one. That's the intriguing character. Let me follow him.
Yeah.
But all in all, I think it's a solid time. I think it's I had a good time. I did. I think it's an enjoyable watch. In regards,
you didn't throw popcorn at the screen or anything like that?
No, I didn't. But in regards to legacy connections, right? Because the original actress of Reagan's mom, Chris McNeil, is back in this movie as an exorcism consultant. She's not herself an exorcist, but she's devoted her studies to exorcisms of all cultures, and she's being consulted by the family, specifically Leslie Odom Jr., to get an understanding of how to help her daughter and both the daughters. It is fan service, I think. It's more so,
it is fan service. We can say it is. Yeah, it is.
I know. I never like to say it, but like in terms of functionality for the story, she's here as a tie to the original. There is a sweet through line with her and talking about Reagan that was nice to see included, but all in all, in terms of functionality of the story, if you just had like the existing priests that were in their town to be like, I'm here and aware of how exorcisms work, and we're going to perform it, things would function the same. Nothing's completely added, because most of the stuff that changes the character all come from the new cast. So I'm not mad that they're there, but I wish there was a bit of a deeper functionality to them being there.
Okay.
Because you could have had anybody be an exorcist consultant, but like the fact that they made it the mother from the first one,
it has to be her,
right? I think they that's a big selling point. And no disrespect to the actors, who I believe is in her like 90s. She did a wonderful job. Very good performance. She's not there a lot. Should also be noted, because it was funny because I'm feeling like I'm getting toward the end of the second act, and she's still not here, and I'm like, This movie's an hour 51 minutes. It's not gonna be a lot of screen time for this lady, so.
The Harrison Ford us in Blade Runner 2049.
A little bit, but that worked.
It did.
Here it didn't like not work. It's just deep. If you had like deeper ties, like even like in regards to the demon, like kind of taunts her that it's the same. Even in the marketing is like taunts that like it's the same demon that like tormented her, and
It's not.
bullshit. It's demon bullshit to say like just to prey on you.
Yeah.
It's not. This isn't Pazuzu, but it is a compelling story in regards to Leslie's side of things, and I wouldn't be mad to follow up with him in a sequel. Although I don't want that family to be a part of a sequel because we exorcised the demon.
So this is $400 million
to obtain the rights, right?
To turn the rights to do a trilogy,
right?
So I guess are they already planning to do 2 more movies with these people, or is this gonna be anthology?
I don't know. It doesn't like tee up a sequel.
This isn't like Halloween.
No, well, even like Halloween, the first one, like you could stop and you're good.
Yeah.
This one also closes. It's like the story's done here. You're good.
Okay.
But that's like the thing with like the Exorcist, right? Is like it could be any type of demon, anybody you're facing, and it's all a fight of evil to save the ones you love.
Yep.
So
okay, so you had quite the horror experience for the past 24 hours.
Yeah.
And then you gonna relieve yourself with some SpongeBob. It came out worse than I expected, but you know what I mean.
I can watch some more horror. I'm fine.
I'll watch more horror.
What's that meme like a dude whose shirt says sickos? It's like, haha, yes.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I can talk about some of the other things I've seen this month as well. I think we talked about it off air, but we both loved No One Will Save You.
Yes. More in the horror wheelhouse. My letterbox is killing it this month. Consistent horror. This movie.
You can start.
Okay. This movie is insane. A little bit.
Insane.
I adore that the actual shit going down, which I thought would be more the climactic set of thing, or at least second act, was the first 20 minutes. It's already a short movie, but things go down. And is it Catherine Dever?
Caitlin Dever. Come on.
Caitlin. I got it. That's what I said. My favorite part of the Goonies is whenever someone misspoke. That's what I said.
Yeah.
She's wonderful. Phenomenal. I was very taken aback as I was telling you that there's one line of dialogue, 2 max.
Yeah, a lot of it is through these great facial expressions. Do you want to go into spoilers? When did this movie come out?
It's been a couple weeks.
2,
maybe 3.
Yeah, let's do it. Spoiler warning for No One Will Save You. Overall, Nathan and I both really recommend you watch this movie, No One Will Save You. I think it's a fantastic horror, thrilling, just a constantly thrilling experience. I think everybody will love if you're into those kinds of like heart-pounding movies, because it's nerve-wracking for a vast majority of this movie.
Dare I say, edge of my seat. I was hooked every moment of what will happen next.
Me too. I think because what the best part about this is I don't need my favorite movies of all time to be relatable, but I think some of the best experiences when you're in a horror movie, especially, is like, what will you do in that situation, right? Like, what would you do if Michael Myers is in your house? That's what makes it so interesting, because you connect with Laurie so closely in that way. In this movie with Caitlin Dever's character, I forget her name, but like, I was so connected. I was like, what would I do if I'm living at home by myself in the woods and an alien invades your house? Just that premise alone really captivates the audience. So overall, we recommend it, but diving into spoilers here. This whole alien invasion sequence at the beginning of the movie is enthralling.
I kind of want to break it down.
Yeah, let's break it down.
So initially she wakes up to her trash cans were fucked with, and you know, like anybody else, be like, oh, raccoons or something. So she goes to put her shoes on to go like pick it up, and as soon as she turns the corner, she can see that her door is open. Her front door is open, which immediate bad sign.
Bad.
But then she steps a little closer, and you can see there's a silhouette of something in the living room, and it's making a noise that is not of anything you've ever heard. And you're just like, oh my fucking god. Even if it is a human, it's like someone's in my fucking house.
Yeah, it's like a home invasion. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, but this is not the home invasion people are expecting.
and that's another thing that's like so captivating about the way the scene is written, is like, because initially when you get setups like this, you go through the full setup of the character to get to know them and get attached to them, and then shit starts to go awry in the middle of the night, and you get the slow creep up of like the noise outside. There's a jiggling of the door handle. There's a creepy light passing by. Something's creaking open. We skip all that. We just step out, and it's like, it's fucking here. And because you don't have like too much of a sense of, I mean, there was a little bit, but there's not. She's just an everyday person, as it seems. You don't get too much of a sense of who she is, so it's enough. But it's enough for you to feel like put yourself in her shoes, right?
I think that's a good part. I think the weakness of this movie is that like they're too substantial with their backstory, but at the same time, I'm really captivated with her as a character. I'm really like worried about her with overall people in the city, but also I can really insert myself into like how she's thinking and how she's going to go about trying to save her own life here. So yeah, I was instantly in it. The movie like instantly places the audience into her experience in a smart way.
Yeah, and I love the moment where she's like, my shoes are too loud. I gotta slip them off real quick.
Gotta slip them out. And again, a lot of this stuff that you mentioned with the dialogue, a lot of this stuff is just unsaid. You just go with like the physical performance and what she's doing to really understand what she's thinking. Yeah, she slips off the shoes. Like this is really interesting because I'm like, this is what I would do too. But damn, those damn creaky stairs, not great.
Yeah, if only she had a brick to throw.
Yeah, where's your bricks and bottles? Come on, don't you watch Last of Us, Caitlin Deaver?
Truly, probably the best thing you could probably have in any survival situation on standby is to have something to throw a noise, right?
Yeah, on any kind of situation. Yeah,
absolutely. But yeah, she creaks and it starts booking it toward her, so she heads into the room.
Terrifying, Nathan. The sound it makes, I'm just like, oh,
it's so scary. You just see like it, and it precisely stops where like just its head's a little bit above the pathway to the floor, to the second floor. When she goes
let's talk about it real quick. I think people were back and forth about the alien designs here, but I really like how it's not super crazy with the aliens. There's no huge big CGI factor here. It's just like these are what aliens. If you Google the word aliens, this is what they're going to look like, right? The classic,
it's the default ideal. Yeah,
it's the default classic example of aliens. But I think that really helps to creep up the creepy factor of this movie. Like these are actual just aliens. And holy shit, yeah, they have different power sets and everything.
Yeah, it's less about what is this crazy creature design? It's like it's an alien, and it's here,
and it's here in your house.
Go. But also, it's the way the alien performs, right? It's so unique because any other time you see this type of alien, they're moving around in a normal pace and stuff like a human would. They're very jittery. It's almost as if they're being performed at different frame rates at times. They're like just sudden jolt movements are very otherworldly. They're like long uneven fingers are crazy. They're like finger toes that they walk on is eerie,
very creepy. Yeah,
and also the way they like pose different signs and contort their arms.
So cool. And this is what's so beautiful about this movie is like I'm really captivated because there's not a lot of like strong dialogue to say like, hey, so Billy, I think this is what the aliens do, and it's like, no, just as an audience member, you have to like clue yourself into what the aliens' physical performance is to understand like what their power sets are, what abilities do they have as creatures, and learning about them one by one was so fast. Even like the alien technology, right? Like everything just keeps on ramping up in this movie where every different encounter you're learning something new about what these aliens can do, and it's just it ups the creepiness to the next level.
And that's a testament as a visual storyteller for the director being able to convey all of this information without any exposition,
Which is so interesting because I'm sitting there like, oh wow, it can do this, and now it can do this because like the telekinesis angle, wow, did not see that coming, but I'm like, oh shit.
the telekinesis is terrifying. The actual beam of the ship is terrifying.
It's because I thought it was like, oh, it's just a it's a beam of light. If it spots you, that's bad, right? Like video game logic, like oh, if it spots you,
at
you're
best,
bad.
it's like it's a tractor beam. It'll pull you.
Right, but this one just like it can like freeze you.
There was a shot where like when it did like activate in the house based on where she was standing, she was holding a pot, flattened it.
Flattened it, yeah. Oh, you're right. That was a very cool effect where she's holding it to like defend herself, and it just flattens the pot, and she looks at it like, oh shit. So yeah, it has like some kind of magnetic flow to it.
I cut out for a second. Sorry.
Oh yeah, you're good. I didn't even notice, but it has a kind of magnetic pull to where it can push and pull. It pushes people in things and objects, but it could also pull things as well. So it's very creepy in that way. Because like something had like blown the house open, right?
Yeah.
Or the door wide open, right? So yeah, it's very terrifying the way that they invade this house in the beginning, and like you said, it doesn't end there. Like the day goes on. Oh wait, so I gotta say the first killing of the alien was gnarly,
or even
gnarly.
right before it was compelling because like she goes to use the phone, but she's got to leave. And
Oh yes.
It investigates the phone while she's hiding. Like she's very exposed behind the fridge, and it
Super exposed.
It launches the fridge door open and like closes her in a space. And I'm like, this is a plus.
yeah. It's one of those moments in Last of Us, like sneaking, where you're just hiding. You look super exposed, but you don't get caught. I'm like, I'm just gonna sit here then. If I'm not caught, I'm not caught. And yeah, that's what she was doing. And then the fridge slams into her. You're good. And then,
but then it gets real scary when it walks up and you just see like the hands come over.
Big Prisoner of Azkaban energy with the Dementors opening the door to the window. It's just like, oh shit! It's like you can see the fingernails. And usually, other movies, right? Other movies would be like they do it and then they get distracted and walk away, right? You know, the cliche where it's just like, "Hey, Billy, walk around," and then like they turn away from the main character or whatever.
Yeah. I think we found something.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You found something. Like, okay, cool. Let me walk away. I'm like, I hate that.
We've been searching enough. Let's leave.
Yeah, we've been searching enough. The main character's like, oh man, that was a close one. I hate that cliche. Anyways, we get to this
just as they walk out.
It's like, damn it, what was that noise? Like, oh damn it. So yeah, but this time they go to the fridge. I'm thinking like, oh, she's gonna be fine. She's gonna walk away. But no,
it's coming.
It's coming. And
boom,
boom, and yeah, it's just. She hightails it, but then that's when the telekinesis happens.
Luckily, she was able to grab a piece of her small town.
Yeah,
she's like slowly being dragged, and I'm like, "Fuck no, no!"
Yeah, it's the way they frame it. When she just comes around and just stabs it in the head. It is the most unnerving moment. Still, even though it's dying, you're just sitting there and you're just looking into its black, empty irises, and you're just like,
It's creepy because like you're faced with something. At least in her shoes, is like this is a disbelief thing to even experience, and then the telepathy drops her, and then it starts to fall onto her, and it's like, oh fuck, oh god, gross, get off.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
And then when she sits on the corner and doesn't move or like even blink like all night into the morning.
Yeah, I'm like, whew. Man, I wouldn't have done that, but I was like, oh, come on. Like, I would have, I understand the trauma of it all, but also I'm sitting here thinking 5 steps ahead. I'm like, okay, I
My
got to get out of
brain,
here. I got to go like lock the doors and everything. Yeah.
my brain is thinking this being is not alone. They're going to be aware that it's dead, and they're going to come in full force.
Bingo, bingo, bingo. I'm like, that's why I can't stay in the same location. It's like on Last of Us. If you kill something, don't stay in the same location. Move, because there's other people around you. They're coming towards you. So yeah, I would have done the same thing.
But there was compelling moments where I was trying to think as a survivor. I was like, okay, I'm going to need protection. Let's call the police out here to see this body. And her phone's fried, so it's like, oh fuck, we got to go into town. And part of my brain's like, well, shit, I hope it doesn't disappear before we get back. And then she tries her car. Her car is fried too. Everything that runs on power is dead. So I'm thinking in my brain like, fuck, how long is the walk to town? Luckily, she had a bike.
She had a bike, and yeah, she was good. I got to go soon actually, but
Okay.
But I want to dive into the later parts of this movie because the beauty of this movie is that the terror just ramps up to like next level. Like there was a creepy, bigger version of the alien, like you said, doing the. I'm just like, if I'm, oh,
3 times the size, damn near kaiju.
It's super, again, unnerving, creepy, disgusting, terrifying, all the words there. And I think this one had the ability to just like summon the alien ship. I think that was its ability. There's also a great sequence where there's other creatures like four-legged creatures or like smaller versions.
There's like I call it a grunt, like this small like the like more like long-armed being, that like swings around and stuff like that, and I'm just like, kick it.
Yeah, I'm punching the fuck out of that thing. Yeah, I think it would be long gone. So that was just insane. And then my only criticism, I think, was the movie was too subtextual with her backstory, what happened with her best friend, and like why the town isolated her so much. And that it didn't really earn that crazy ending where she is with the town, but they're all mind controlled. Which is also another reveal was that the aliens could insert a mind controlling parasitic organism into other people's minds, and that would help them with the invasion process and corrupt them.
Terrifying. Also, seemingly putting them into like a blissful state.
Blissfully unaware.
Probably so that their brains can keep operating the body. But yeah, that it was very captivating, very unnerving. Like the amount of times where she was under the gun and caught was very worrisome, and I was compelled every time. How much time do you think you have?
I have 5 or 10 minutes.
Okay. So I was very captivated by that. I was able to pick up on the subtext enough, I think, personally. I thought it flowed really well. I did misinterpret how the thing was going to end because eventually after they experience her story and they send her back, you see a bunch of flash of colors all around. And I was like, she proved the human race. Everyone's being put back.
Yeah.
Everything's good. But no. It turns out everybody's living in mind control, which I guess arguably is a better scenario for her, that she can actually like live in peace because they're not trying to,
they're not spitting in her face, which is, by the way, if somebody ever spits in my face, you're not living to see the next day.
It's so funny. She did that in the police station. I was like, sir, that's assault.
right? Yeah. Fuck off. Everybody in that room who saw that happen. I'm like, fuck off. She's been up face. I'm pushing her down the steps.
But I guess the dude was captain and is also the woman's husband.
Yeah. I was just so confused because she was writing to her best friend. That's one strong, weird coping mechanism.
Happens.
But either way, yeah, it happens to the worst of us. But then what's it called? Yeah, it was just so interesting. Them finally kidnapping her, bringing her on board with their spaceship, and then they get to take a peek inside of her brain through these stop motion, not stop motion, but
it's always
freeze frame images.
It's always unsettling when someone's abducted into the core of the alien ship and is surrounded by a bunch of them.
Oh,
you do not know
so
what the
disgusting.
fuck will happen, and your brain takes over because it's fear of the unknown, right? It's like
Yeah.
the worst possible scenarios you can imagine. And whereas if they were trying to go a different angle, they could have just like cut away for like somebody else to be in there and it'd be like, oh fuck. But there was clearly a deeper story to be told here, with the overcoming of processing grief and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think that part was weak, but I understood, like you, I understood I understood the thematic element of it all as a whole. And it made for a strong movie where it's like she's alone, like both physically and emotionally alone against this huge threat. Like literally no one will save you. So I like that whole element of it. But yeah, it was just, man, my heart was pounding this entire movie. It was just so much fun. It's one of those terrifying movies where it's so much fun and so captivating, where you're just in it for the whole experience, and things were just happening to her. She's running from a huge alien. She goes into the forest. She runs into herself and gets stabbed by herself. I'm just like, what is happening? It is insane. Like, it was so many different reveals. I'm like, what powers do these things have? They can replicate humans now? Like, what?
Why do you need
Like,
us?
yeah, it was bonkers, in the best way possible.
I also love the reveal too when she's on the bus and you think she's getting away, and then because I was telling you, the fact that like usually we're prone to like this shit happens at night, and then during the day
Yep.
you go about your day, and then
And you're safe.
come back at night. Yeah, you're safe during the day. No, they walk among us.
And that freaky, like the way it was like contorting on the bus, I'm like, this is disgusting and insane.
Two of them, and I was
Two
like,
of
how
them.
many of them? Luckily, there are other people that are like, what the fuck's happening?
It was like an OG zombie outbreak. But it was like, wow, the spread is happening.
And you could like see the parasite in the neck.
Ew. Yeah.
And I was like, she got a box cutter. Let's bring them.
Yeah. But damn, yeah, she was going through the ringer that entire movie, and it was just such a fun movie. I think Caitlin Dever has just a great filmography.
I think my biggest fuck yeah moment, or one of them, because there was like 5, was when she entangled the large alien in her car and blew it up.
Yes, that was beast.
Yeah,
that was beast mode. She untangles it, or she gets it stuck in the car, and I'm just like, oh my god, which is already insane.
That was her 3rd level of alien that she has now killed at this point, and I'm just like, you can't beat her. Let her go.
Yeah.
I also love the way like the ship like pulsates. It seems it's like a classic fish. The different like layers.
It felt alive, yeah, for sure. A la Nope. But yeah, it felt alive and like just as much of a threat as everything else. Also, a great sequence, by the way, for me was when she was frozen in the house, and then the alien like comes up to her and opens his mouth. That was just, man, that was one of the most terrifying scenes I've seen all year.
And it was the alien that was like it was very captivating that they specifically showed the alien being intrigued enough to like pick up on her backstory and see what's up with her, see why she's the way she is. I thought it was great. Also, compare not to like, but also yes, to compare to Nope. I love Nope. I adore it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a fantastic reveal that like the UFO itself is actually the alien is as a living organism. It's a very cool reveal, but I'm not gonna deny that I still think my favorite sequence of Nope is the creepy fake out barn prank where the kids are dressed up as aliens. Even though I know it's not real, it's framed so well and so eerie that like this movie ended up fulfilling my paranoia of like being pursued by these alien beings and like how you're going to survive and how you overcome their abilities.
Yeah,
because there's also so many of them in different scenarios.
Yeah, that's what made it so much fun, because like, how do you survive each level of the alien? Like for example, she killed one of them, but then when she finds another one in the basement, this one is like way stronger. Like even though it's just using the telekinesis stuff, she has to throw it, and it's just like playing with her, so much so that she just runs away from that one in the basement. So yeah, it was enthralling the whole time. Man, the more I talk about this movie, the more I love it.
Bump it up to that 4, Evan.
I already did, actually. I think I moved it up to 4 the other day. I was like, man, it's different ranked movies. I've seen a lot of movies this past month in August and stuff. I still have to rank like Equalizer, Blue Beetle, Bottoms. If people have not seen Bottoms, I really recommend Bottoms. Let me go before I close out here. Some movies I'd recommend that I've seen over the past month. So Blue Beetle, yes. Bottoms, fantastic. Haunting in Venice, awesome. Just a very good, the best of the trilogy. We talked about No One Will Save You, and then Saw X, which I don't think we talked about on air. We could do that next time. Do we do Saw
Launch
X?
the cinema pod, man.
Did we do Saw X in the last pod? Was that off air for both of us?
I think it was off air.
Maybe off air, but we have time. Saw X and the creator. Even though I didn't love the creator has some great ideas, and I'd still recommend people see it just for the sci-fi aspect of it all. And then Equalizer 3, talk about closing out the trilogy. Also very, very good. So yeah, August, September, really good. October is going to be even bigger. We finally see Killers of the Flower Moon this month. No more of that wondering about the murders.
See, what about him?
He was doing them.
We also got Five Nights at Freddy's, which we're going to be commentating and reacting to.
Definitely. That's going to be a blast and a half.
Nice.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at HarrisEV9. Talking all things anime, which I'm about to do right now. Watching some Big Brother, Amazing Race, Survivor. I'm a huge reality TV person. And The Traitors Canada, which is pretty fun. I had to buy a whole VPN to watch that one. So yeah, check out my Twitter for all the podcasts I'm doing. I did a lot of fun ones this past week. I was on Orange Grove 55's channel on Friday, talking all things Ahsoka and what we liked and what we didn't like. Where Heartbreak Feels Good, we did that on Tuesday. Talking about everything we watched in August and September. And then, of course, with Nathan, as we mentioned, The Exorcist commentary, the Goonies commentary, and our own Hyperspace Hype Ahsoka review. So it's been a fun week, and we're going to continue talking about Loki. Hopefully Loki and Sylvie get some great scenes next week. I'm very excited for that. So yeah, follow me on Twitter, HarrisEV9. Hopefully I don't do 6 podcasts this week. I need a break.
Rest easy, my son. You want me at _TimeBlazer, making a show called Time Blazer with creative consultant and co-star Evan Harris.
Yes, playing the best character in the show, Ben.
Yep. No, for sure. He's a great one.
Facts.
Facts. He probably has one of the most enriched backstories. I like it. So that being said, if you guys enjoyed this podcast, make sure to like the button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you miss future coverage on Loki and other things in this spooky season. That being said, hope you have a great day and catch you guys next time.